Welcome to Reread. We're on book 1 of the Darkness Trilogy by Troy Denning. This one's called The Joiner King. It's been a while since I've read it. Akana, who is from the Black Fleet Crisis, she's of the White Current, she predicts that Jason will fall to the dark side. Just because, based off his theory of what's going on in the New Jedi Order, the thing about the Force, they are totally backpedaling on that. I guess George gave an ultimatum that no, that's not the Force. What you said, there's good and light. They're both together. It just depends on how the Jedi want to interpret it. Like, they can use the dark side without being a dark Jedi. So that's kind of what's going on here. But at the same time, they are foreshadowing Jason's fall, is what they're doing here, which now you can clearly see. I love how Jason is so powerful now. He can do stuff that even Luke doesn't know how he does it. Now, not that Luke can't learn it, as we'll find out way later, but Jason can obviously do a lot of different things that is kind of freaking everyone out. He can place messages in the future and shoot a message through space and time, and he can play with the brain scanners, and I remember that very well, because I remember Luke going, "Cut it out, Jason," because Jason, they're thinking, what's Lobaka, Jaina, Zach, Jason, all the originals from that Myrrh, was it Myrrh? I can't remember, from New Jedi Order, the mission they went on, their mind link has kind of connected, or is very similar to what the bugs, the Killiks, there you go. You think I hadn't read this in a while, but I just read this last week. But that the Killiks have this kind of mind meld. They have the similar one, and they've influenced a lot of the Jedi. In fact, these young Jedi are fighting for the Killiks. They think the Chiss are the bad guys, and the Killiks are the good guys. And Luke and all the other Jedi Masters can tell something's not right here, because the young Jedi Masters are doing everything they can to. At first, it becomes a rescue mission to find out where they are, and then finds out they're kind of becoming joiners. Joining up with these bugs who the Killik will eventually, if you hang out around them enough, you'll become part of the hive mind. Now, Jason is above that. He's not connected to the hive mind at all. In fact, he plays around with the brain scanners to kind of show them that he's his own Jedi. But of course, it doesn't give them a full reading on Jason. But he's the only one that we find out is not acting on the joiner's behalf. Everyone else seems to be defending them and trying to call it the Chiss as the bad guy. In fact, there's a great scene where, and I can't remember his name, Tassar, I believe, goes to see Raynar, who's alive. I remember the first time I read this, I was like shocked. And so now it's a really good story. Raynar is the Joiner King, basically. He's the spokesperson for the Killiks right now. And they've become actively aggressive in the past few years since he's been in control. But it's not him. There's a dark nest that we find out, because it looks like Welk and Lomi Plo are alive as well. But yet, Raynar has no memory of saving them. He has no memory of them being around. In fact, when Luke and Mara and the rest of them get attacked by these dark blue beetles, Raynar seems to just not believe them. He explains every accident. He explains all the things that happen to him as accidents and stuff, even though it's really a stretch of the imagination. And even when some of the, I think it's Lomi Plo, appears before him and leaves the room, he doesn't even realize she was there. So they have this kind of dark side mind rub over the whole joiners, and they're a dark nest working in secret. Now, it's a very interesting story, but let me get back to a few things that I really like from here. First off, Han is mentioned to be in his mid-60s by now. Now, I remember this because I was like, dang, how much longer are you going to let him go? Well, I guess in the last adventure, he's got to be in his early to mid-70s when you think about Crucible. But, I mean, right now, he's in his mid-60s is what Leia says. Wow, that's incredible to think. And the whole time I'm hearing him, they talk about him being old. He hasn't, 3PO's making jokes. He's 0.3 of a second slower than he used to be and whatnot. And, they keep making these jokes back and forth. But Han just feels like Han. And he is getting older and maybe wiser, I don't know. But how Troy Denning writes the relationship between Han and Leia is great. Now, they come across an Ewok. I forgot that Tarvong is in here. Tarfong, I think. I love him. He's a very funny character. He's always hurling insults, translated by 3PO as insults at the right time, which is really funny. And I think at the very beginning, Luke gets hit on by a couple of I can't remember what they are, some kind of birds with beaks. And Sabatine goes, "Hey, the Ewok says when you stop hitting on those people, he can help us out." It's just, there's some funny scenes in there. There's a lot of good comedy in here. The Ewok Tarfong asks Saba if, I can't remember, some alien was their friend. And Saba responds, "We haven't killed together, but he can help us." Like, he's not my friend because we haven't killed together. I love that. It's so funny. Oh, and at the end of this, even though I'm skipping to the end, Leia decides that she wants to be a Jedi, and she wants Sabatine to train her. And so that basically Leia going on a path now to become a true Jedi Knight, which, she's always been powerful, but she hasn't been as powerful as Luke. And since she's not part of the Senate, she's not part of politics, she wants to take up the life of a Jedi, which I enjoyed too. There's another funny scene where Han is telling, there's a lot of funny Han scenes, but Han is telling off Raynar, and he goes, something about, I slept with your mom, blah, 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 don't talk to me, I was running around with your mom way before you were born. And then, I can't remember, I think it was Marjay goes, "Is that true?" And Leia goes, "Probably, knowing Han's past." I thought that was so funny. I didn't remember that at all. I didn't know that MTD had died. He had died during, they confirmed it. I knew he was in the escape ship, but it was a Jason, I believe, found his melted remains. He tells Jaina that. So MTD is now gone, and I had forgotten how he died on this. But so he died in New Jedi Order, but it wasn't confirmed until the Dark Nest trilogy, which is kind of weird because you really do have to confirm these, right? I thought Raynar was there the first time I read it, but he became alive. But they did confirm that MTD, the droid from Young Jedi Knights, is not around anymore. Oh, sad face. Another character they explore is Alima. She was in the New Jedi Order. Her sister died during with the Voxen, the very first time we saw the Voxen. And in this one, she kind of falls in league with the Dark Nest. She becomes a Dark Jedi. And Jason comes to the realization that Luke always knew that she would fall to the dark side. Because Luke always foresaw it, that she would go to the dark side, which is kind of crazy. Luke can see that, and he can do all he can to help her, but he knows where her destiny is. I don't remember that at all. When I read that chapter, I was like, whoa, that was big stuff. Now, Episode 3 had come out by then, and so Troy Denning does the thing that I hate, and he did it for Tatooine's Ghost 2. When Tatooine's Ghost came out, we knew what Episode 1 was, so we had to throw all these memories of Episode 1. Now that Episode 3 is out, of course, R2 has video footage from Episode 3. He was recording the whole time. And he wants to hide this from Luke. Why now? Why did I can't remember. Luke finds that some hidden message by accident. And so the whole thing goes to find, because R2-D2 will not give out this information. They have to find a master code, which Alima and the Dark Nest have, or the original R2-D2 prototype, which is what Raynar's mom gives to Luke when she finds out that he's going to kill her son. This is in the 3rd book. Now, I mention this because this whole arc has really nothing to do with the series. It's just, again, Troy Denning saw Episode 3, and he wants to go ahead and connect Episode 3 with the EU. And I just don't like that. I mean, Luke finds out his mom's name was Padme now. Luke finds out what happens to her. He sees pictures of her. He and Luke know the truth from the prequels. So what? So what? It makes this should have been maybe a short story or something separate from this. But then Troy Denning tries desperately to tie it in because maybe I need to center myself. Perhaps another video or two. And it's like a commercial break for Episode 3. It's really just distracting from the overall story. And just like Tatooine's Ghost, I didn't like it here either. Now, Jaina wakes up next to Zeke. They didn't sleep together. But they bonded now since their, Killik experience, and they finish each other's sentences. Now, I don't know what Troy Denning was trying to do because Jag is still in the picture, but he's kind of on the outside. And Zek is someone that everyone loved. I love Zek and Jaina together. I remember when I read this, I was like, yes, it's going to happen. Now, don't worry, they're going to break this up. We all know that's what happens next. But that Jaina and Zek had this nice relationship going, and they're kind of two minds melded together as one, finishing each other's sentences. You thought that was, I think Troy Denning was just throwing it there, seeing what fans would like. By this point, all the brainwashed fans wanted Jag and Jaina, so they did a complete 180 and gave the fans what they wanted. But bravo for trying, because I was excited about it, and I really wish it would have happened. One storyline that completely dropped, and I knew they did, was Lobaka and Lumpy are no longer fulfilling their life debt to Han. There's no mention of that. Lumparo, Waro is his name now, is not in the book at all, and Lobaka is with the rest of the gang. So who's fulfilling the life debt that we heard of in the end of New Jedi Order? I don't know if this is ever explained. Now, Wizards of the Coast may have something on this. Maybe after Return of the Jedi, they wrote something. There may be some article out there. I haven't looked as of this video, but that life debt that they were swore to uphold is now gone. And there's no mention of it after that. So I found that very interesting. Now, at the very end, to resolve the conflict, Leia goes back into political peacekeeper mode, and she makes a deal with the Galactic Alliance, some Ithorians and whatnot. Like the Ithorians are going to get some planet, I can't remember which planet, but there are some new planets they found they're going to have the Killik go to, and they kind of convince Raynor, they trick him into making him think it's his idea to get away from the traitorous Chiss and start his own colony, light years away from the border, Chiss border, which is starting this whole conflict. And of course, we know the Dark Nest wants this war for whatever reason, devious reasons that's revealed later on in the other books. But so Raynor decides to leave, and crisis averted, and right now everyone is happy. So far, what do I think? I love it so far. I think it's great. It was good the first time I read it, and I can't wait to read about more bugs next time.